Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm joined with just Malota today, obviously. If anyone's wondering where you're listening to my voice instead of Marcus, he has been having internet issues. But the show must go on. I hope you're keeping safe. And without any further ado, Malota, how you doing, bruv?
I'm feeling good. Excited for the
Feeling
show.
good? Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's go straight into it. Obviously, the latest news coming around the world is obviously that we are still in lockdown, mostly everywhere, and life hasn't just been the same without football and other necessities. And we have seen some progresses. Obviously, the likes of the French League, Ligue 1, has been voided. The Bundesliga has until May 6th to make a decision on what their plans are to be. La Liga plans to still go ahead with training. Serie A also plans to train further on in May. I think May 28th is when they start to train. And the Premier League, once again, are just, holding out. And, there's big conspiracy theories going around on whether or not it should restart or should be voided. If the French League has been voided and other leagues still want to carry on, Maloto, what do you think could happen with the Premier League?
I didn't know the French League was ordered, eh?
Yeah, it has been voided. It has been voided, and I think the decision after the void was to keep the standings as they are. So whoever's in relegation got relegated, and I think they will give PSG the title.
I guess that makes sense. Look, if it's a safety thing, and if the players are worried about safety, yeah, it should get voided, I guess. I mean, there's nothing we can do. We can't force them to play. But if I'm honest, and I'm trying to I'm being selfish, it is being selfish, but I really want football back. And I feel like in a time like this, something like football can be very helpful because people need entertainment. I mean, people are isolated, and obviously to get to people mentally. So having entertainment like football, which is the biggest sport in the world, it will help. And I feel like Mark Goldrich made a very good point. If we don't do it now, then when are we going to do it? I mean, I think a plan has to be made about when football is coming back, or is it not coming back at all?
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the players' concerns because I think Kun Aguero came out in a Spanish newsletter and he was interviewed and he basically said that him and like lots of other players are concerned about coming back to football, obviously because they have families and stuff. Footballers are like normal people too. But yeah, it is mental health is important, but so is health. But yeah, the latest news coming out with the Premier League is that they plan to restart on June 8th and that they should start training with protective masks and that managers, trainers, and everyone associating football, including refs, shall be tested for any lung problems or anything linked with coronavirus. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if it's possible, it should be tried. I think everything should be tried before we just decide to void the season. I think it will go a long way into helping the situation because the vaccine isn't coming anytime soon. So are we just not going to have football for the entire duration? So yeah. And I know some people don't agree with giving Liverpool the title.
Yeah, definitely interesting because, it is a touchy subject. You do get people out there saying that, football at this moment of time, we do miss it, but it's not the biggest priority. Lives are at stake and families are at stake. And yeah, I can see both sides of the story, but like you said, personally, I love football to be back. I desperately miss football. I would take any football at this point. But, I think from now till late May and early June, it's still a long period of time. I mean, people didn't think the pandemic will last this long, and look where we are still now. So in a month time, if things really don't take a dip in number of cases and number of deaths and stuff, I think we could see leagues being further postponed or even voided. And obviously, if the Premier League, let's say if the Premier League did get voided, let's say the Premier League got voided on June 8th, what would your decision be? Would you relegate teams? Would you give Liverpool the title, or what? Or what? How would you deal with the void?
Jeez, my life. Look, I prefer it not being voided. I prefer it be postponed, and even if we have to play this season next season, I think I'd prefer that the season be finished because there's so many implications. Like, there's so many people who are going to suffer from this. And yes, lives are more important, but like, who's in the top four? Do we give Liverpool the title? West Brom, we worked so hard this season to get promotion. They're going to be snubbed promotion. So it's a bit extreme. If it did happen, personally, I'd say, yeah, just keep it how it is and give Liverpool the title because I think it's the most fair thing, the most fair decision.
So if the season had to get voided and things like that, you would relegate people like Norwich, Aston Villa, and those guys.
yeah, I guess over that period of time, they didn't do enough, and there's nothing more we can do.
So you're not one of those guys who'd see it as like they still have 5 games in hand. One win can just take them above relegation, and will still be in the league.
Yeah, I think the problem is people games in hand. With them, it's a bit unfair because, like Sheffield, are on us, and they could have gone above us maybe if they won their game in hand, but that will never happen. So for teams like that, it's a bit of a yikes. But for everybody else who's played the same amount of games, you've had the same amount of chances. So I guess it's fair.
So you also because of the way you would do it, United wouldn't get Champions League football.
Sadly.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to hate or anything. I'm just showing you what else could happen, because like I said, if you look at what the French league has done, I mean, nothing was done mathematically, like Liverpool haven't mathematically won the Premier League. So you can't just, like obviously they were like 99.9% going to win the Premier League this season. And Norwich would probably get relegated if the season was continued. But if it hasn't happened yet, it hasn't happened. But
look, I know it's harsh, and I know people like Mark and Marcus, who's not here, would disagree. But I think over those period of games, they did win the title. Yes, it's not finished, but they did win it. And there will always be the blemish over them that you never finished the season. And I guess they'll just have to live with that. But I think it's fair to give them the title. And it's only fair that we don't get top 4, sadly.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, I'll never forget what Oli has done in the beginning of the season before Bruno Fernandes came and all of that. That has not escaped my mind. But anyways, moving on to the latest transfer news. Now, if the season was to get voided, Aston Villa gets relegated, or if Villa don't get relegated, that boy top left corner, Jack Grealish. If Villa got relegated, I think we would get him. I think if Villa don't get relegated, though, we could struggle. I don't even think that if United do bring in a few other signings and do manage to keep Paul Pogba, I don't see Grealish coming in, which I don't agree with. I think irrespective of what happens, Jack Grealish should come in because we definitely need squad depth. What are your opinions on it?
I agree. Yeah, I think in terms of price, I think we can get him either way. But I don't know. Are we willing to still get him with Paul Pogba still at the club? I don't know where the club's view is on that. If you ask me personally, I think we should because we do. We can't be relying on Juan Mata and Jesse Lingard on the bench because they're just not going to do it. So having this guy on the bench would be a big addition. Financially, we should be able to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Jack Grealish. He's one of my favorite footballers at the moment. I know some of you might have his doubts and be like, I think he's smart and it's one of those old school ballers who he's troublesome everywhere, on and off the pitch. But I would still sign Jack Grealish. Squad depth is so important. I can't emphasize it enough that to win titles and to go far in other cup competitions, you need squad depth. And if someone like a Bruno or Pogba got tired or does get injured, Jack Grealish isn't bad. I mean, I would rather have Jack Grealish come and play than Jesse Lingard, like you said.
Yeah. Like, if the season does get voided, I don't know who gets affected more in terms of this. Is it Villa, who then desperately need to sell because they have no money? Or do we also not have enough money to even have any transfers? It's an interesting situation.
I think that Villa will have to sell because I think Villa, they don't have the financial resources to just, not play football and be okay. I think United will get away with it. And I think, as you said that about the finance stuff, it's very interesting because you look at Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey wanted to stay at Atletico Madrid, but now with the whole season getting suspended and things, Atletico Madrid could be forced to sell Thomas Partey. And obviously he's been linked heavily to English football, specifically Arsenal. But news coming out that Thomas Partey does love the Premier League and that he actually could come to Manchester United. And the only thing I would say is these are just speculations and rumors. But that is, if United somehow went to go get a CDM like Thomas Partey, I've got no complaints because the CDM is a big priority. And again, I know people will say you'd be dropping someone like a Fred or something like that. It shouldn't be a bad thing. I've been caught in the mistake myself, but it shouldn't be a bad thing. They're going to be our players, and competition is always good.
Yeah. Hey, look, that's what happened when he spent 120 million on on João Felix. So it's kind of sad that Atletico Madrid are now having to sell their best players because they don't have the money. But I'd take them. Like yesterday offline, we're talking about imagine Kante, Pogba, and Bruno Fernandes. How amazing that would be. yes, I think maybe Kant is not realistic, but I think this guy could do maybe as good a job because he's a really talented player. And behind Bruno and Pogba, who could be a phenomenal pairing, I think it would do wonders for us. And look, Fred is a good player, but for me, Fred is a rotation player because the biggest problem I have with Fred is what is his main position? What is he? And I don't know that. And if we can't answer that, he can't be a starter. He can be a player who comes on and does a fix here and there, but not a starter. And Matic is not that young anymore, and he would be a good backup for Partey. So having a CDM like Partey would be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And if, because the biggest links with Thomas Partey are Manchester United and Arsenal. If you were Thomas Partey, you look at the two clubs and you decide what they're doing, you'd go to United.
No brainer. Yeah, no. And in terms of finances, we could offer him way more than Arsenal could.
Definitely. My only problem is that I feel that United are not looking for a CDM, and that's what worries me. I don't think United in their head think that they need a CDM. I think I have a very bad feeling that Oli and his team are thinking that now the two CDMs work at the back, or Fred could do a job if he was a lone CDM. And I'm not saying he couldn't. I have faith in Pastor Fred. Obviously, he's been amazing this season, but I would still like a more polished CDM.
Yeah, I think all his plans in terms of how to play going forward aren't clear. Does he want to play 1-10 and 2 CDMs, which then can work because Fred then has a more stable position. But then, what do you do, Pogba? What do you do, Bruno? Who starts? It's a bit complicated.
Exactly.
And it seems like Pogba and Bruno are both going to be at the club. So if you're going to play them both, the only logical thing to do, or the most productive thing to do, is to play one CDM. And I don't know if they've decided that's Matic, because they did offer him a new contract. So you might think that that's the way they're going. That's the route they're going down, which is a bit scary. Because personally, I've been hearing people saying we need a backup striker. I don't know, I feel like Martial and what's his name again, Igalo, could do a job for a season.
Even Greenwood. I think Greenwood's growth shouldn't also be stunted. I think Greenwood, when he does have to play, will be amazing.
Yeah. I think the CDM is more of a problem position. We haven't had a good CDM since Carrick and Scholes. So I think we need to address that if we want to move forward.
Yeah, definitely. If we went to get Thomas Partey, though, would be your next. Or is Thomas Partey your number one CDM if you could get a CDM, realistically?
I'd say Ndidi, because he's done it in the Premier League. I won't say Kante because they're not going to let us get him, but Chelsea will ask for a ridiculous price. I guess with Ndidi, that's the problem as well, because we paid 80 million for Maguire. Now everything else we buy has to be above 80 million. So ideally, for me, I think it'd be him because he's doing it in the Premier League and he's fantastic at it. So yeah.
So you'd pick Ndidi personally over Thomas Partey if you had to
definitely. I think you have to look at their attributes and forget where they're playing. I think Partey looks like the better player because he has that attacking side to him, but he's not doing it in the Premier League. And we've seen in the past that players come to the Premier League and flop. I mean, look at Ndombele right now at Spurs.
Yeah, true. What I will say, though, about the difference between Partey and Ndidi is that, Partey is 28, I think, and Ndidi is 22. So there is a big age group. And if Oli is going to be the long man for the future, and he is going to be the guy to do the rebuild, and Ndidi looks more of an Oli signing than Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
I would love Thomas Partey at United, but I don't see how it happens. I think if he does go anywhere, I think it will be Arsenal.
I don't know, I feel like Arsenal fans just speaking, honestly, and it's just rumors, because where are Arsenal going to get the money in this situation? So I think if he's coming anywhere, it's going to be to United. But
if you look at what we could offer Thomas Partey, we will win hands down. We can offer better wages. We can offer better structure. I'm not having anything against Arsenal. I think the only thing Arsenal could have won over us is the manager. Arteta could be a bit more appealing than Mr. Happy Face there in the dressing room.
Yeah. But the scary thing is that there hasn't been links. So, and the last links we really had were to Declan Rice and Sean Langstaff, and I don't want that happening.
So yeah, definitely. It just shows again, like, what they are bigger problems at this club than just the players and just the coaches and all of that. The
Yeah.
fact that we are not prioritizing a CDM also is
Yeah.
absolutely shocking. But anyways,
I
let's
think,
talk about. Yeah, finish up.
yeah, no, I think you were going to talk about I was about to say something about the person you're about to talk about. I
Oh, yeah.
think if we're going to sign anyone, it's probably just going to be Jadon Sancho. I can honestly see us only signing him this season.
Oh, let's talk about it. We were talking about reliable sources and stuff. Well, tier one, Fabrizio Romano. And I must give a shout out to Mark Goldbridge, the United Stand, and, Flex and everyone else. And I think United Report on Twitter, if you want to go check them out, they organized an interview with Fabrizio Romano on the United Stand. That was an amazing show. I applaud the United Stand on what they did. It just shows what YouTube and fans can create. And, I wish them all the best and everything. They're a great channel. They deserve everything they have. And yeah, it was just absolutely phenomenal. But anyways, what Fabrizio Romano said on Jadon Sancho, of course, we had to ask. The United fan channel, we had to ask him about Jadon Sancho. And he said that basically Manchester United, Ed Woodward, Oli, the coaches, they're all in love with Jadon Sancho. And, Jadon Sancho has got good friendship ties with people like Marcus Rashford, Jesse Lingard. Obviously, he is English. He is 19 years old. He lit up the Bundesliga this season. And Fabrizio Romano said that for a price of £86 million, he could be a United player.
£86 million.
£86 million.
Yeah, I think this has gone past rumors now. I think if Fabrizio Romano is speaking about it, I think there's some proper substance to it. And I think it's very possible. I mean, I don't know if the Champions League thing will be a factor. I feel like Jadon Sancho might want to come to the Premier League anyway. But it does seem like he does want to come, and it does seem like we have a really good chance. And I think we have the finances to do it. And I think the board is in love with how marketable Sancho could be. So I can really see this happening.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, what's again, personally about Jadon Sancho, the way I feel, I love the kid. I think he is going to be an amazing player. But I am still very, very worried about Jadon Sancho. I've seen many youngsters come to United and, with all the amazing stats and all the amazing things that they've done and what I've heard and seen. And then, I don't know, I'm just worried about Jadon Sancho, first of all. I don't know how you feel, but I feel like, this could be something that could go south. And I'm not saying it will go south. It's just, I don't know, I have a very weird feeling in me about Jadon Sancho. I feel like it's such a big move and stuff, and, the pressure could get to him. But I don't know, that's just how I feel.
And I used to be of the opinion he's overrated until I started watching him. I think he's a brilliant player. I don't think we've had a young player. Okay, we had Memphis, but Memphis was playing in, what is it called again? The Dutch league, which really isn't that competitive. So that one you can understand. But he's playing in the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga isn't easy, and he's doing the most. And in the Champions League, he does pretty well. So I think he's a safe bet, honestly.
Definitely, I hope so, and I do think he will come. If he does come to United, he'll light it up. Definitely, it's just I can't help but feel that I am worried. I will be lying if I told you I wasn't worried, and I said this guy will hit the ground running and he'll be perfectly fine at United. But what I will say is,
you're worried about us spending 100 million and then flopping.
Yeah, 100 mil and then a flop. I mean, it could happen. Premier League pundits and fans, they won't take it lightly. How Premier League guys are also. Nah, this guy is trash. Just get him out. You spent this much on him. He hasn't scored a goal. This blah 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 blah.
Sure.
But yeah. But the other guys he has been linked to is Chelsea. But the only thing I would say is that if you look at the Premier League, Liverpool won't be in for Jadon Sancho. They have other priorities. City would love Jadon Sancho, but he left City for a reason, and I don't think you would get a spot in that team. But if you look at Chelsea and United, because Chelsea were the other link, I think United can offer way more. I think we got the financial advantage over them, and I think that maybe prior to Bruno, you could say he wouldn't have come because it looked disastrous. But now, if I was Jadon Sancho, I'm looking at the team that Oli has built. If Pogba stays, now you've got Bruno. Wan-Bissaka is looking amazing. Maguire is now the captain. You still got David De Gea and things like that. I would be thinking, yeah, I would take this project definitely. And what I will say is that it'll be good for Dan James. I think Dan James shouldn't have this pressure onto him yet, and I think that Dan James as a substitute and as a rotational player will be absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Look, yeah, I think besides everything, I think our stature still works for us. I mean, I think we're still Manchester United, and that's still an appeal. And having Rashford there, having Pogba there, Bruno lighting it up, I think he will buy into the project. And honestly, I don't think Chelsea are crazy because this idea that they want Ziyech and Sancho and Willian and Pedro, and it doesn't add up to me because he publicly said he's not selling Pedro and Willian, and I think the addition to that is Ziyech, and I don't see them going for Sancho, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't look like a Chelsea signing. You know, Chelsea always have like good low-key players, but Jadon Sancho just looks like it looks like a United signing. It looks like, yeah, splash 100 more, 80 to 100 more on a superstar youngster, come in, sell the shirts, and hopefully the fans love you and you light it up. And that's one of the reasons why I'm worried about, because I have seen this before, guys. I've been around the blocks. I've seen this happen many times, and it just doesn't work. But hopefully, I think Jadon Sancho his stats speak for himself. His stats speak for himself. He's an amazing talent, and he has been phenomenal this season.
I think the move is down to Sancho now. I think Dortmund have made it clear that what price they want, and they won't make it difficult for us, and we just need to pay it. I think it's down to how much does Sancho really want to come to the Premier League? And is he willing to put it aside this season because there's a pandemic and say, I'll spend one more season at Dortmund if they pay me that amount of wages? Or is he really that desperate to come and show the world what he can do in the Premier League? It's going to be down to that.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. I said because, leagues have been suspended and stuff, I think Dortmund might have to sell. I don't think Dortmund want to sell, but I think because of financial reasons, they could be forced to sell to United. And if they want to get the most for Jadon Sancho, United will pay the most.
Yeah, no, fair, yeah.
But, we're talking about all these transfers. We're talking about when football will be back. When football does eventually get back. I don't know when it is, but I hope it does come back sooner rather than later. I hope things get back to where they were because I really, really do miss football. But in terms of next season, when the transfer window and things have happened, Moloto, I'm going to put on a potential team, a potential starting 11 for next season. And I just want to know what your thoughts are. I haven't added squad depth yet, but this could be our potential starting 11 next season.
It's fire, honestly. I think forget the bench. If you keep this first team fit throughout the whole season, I think we challenge. I don't know if we win, but I think we challenge because
you think we challenge the same season we get them. So the first season, Jadon Sancho, and if like a party comes and Pogba stays, we could challenge.
I think we do because Ole's playing style is not a very complex playing style. It's not a playing style like Pep where the players really need to buy into it. But when it does work, it's going to be amazing. It's rather straightforward, and with the right players, I think it can be effective. And I think we could. I think we've got Partey in the CDM holding there and not really doing anything else. We've got Bruno and Pogba with the creativity, top class creativity, and you can't complain about attack there with Jadon Sancho, Rashford, and Martial. And then defensively, we're one of the best defense. Or I would put Bailly there over Lindelof. But anyway, I think we've got one of the best defense in Europe. I think this team could challenge with David De Gea on top of it.
What I would say about this team is because obviously the people that are not on the screen would be a Jack Grealish. So imagine you have Jack Grealish, Pastor Fred, McTominay, a Greenwood, and Igalo still on your bench to come in. So if anything happens to Pogba, Grealish is there. That's amazing. If anything happens to like Martial or Sancho or anything, we still have a Dan James. We still have a Greenwood who's lit. I have faith in Greenwood. Like if Greenwood was our centre forward and Martial didn't exist, I would have no complaints. I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. Greenwood is amazing.
Yeah, no. I think with Greenwood and Fred and possibly Grealish, we'll have a good depth, and we need to get rid of the Lingards and the Pereira's of this world. So
yeah, we have to get rid of that.
If we have a team like that, I think we could challenge.
Definitely. And the only thing I would say is that, I look at this team and I try to think back on all the teams prior, post Sir Alex Ferguson and, post Oli, the Van Gaal, the Moyes' team and all that. I look at those teams and I can't remember a team that looked as complete as a team like this.
Yeah.
Obviously we had a period where Di Maria was here, Falcao was here. That window I'll never forget also. Also when Ibra and Pogba was here, those certain windows where it looked amazing. But I look at this team and I just think that this team is the most complete team that United has ever had in the past few years.
True. I feel like if we can give Ole anything, there has been a sense of direction since comeback, more than with the other managers. I feel like in terms of the starting 11, the team, as much as you might not agree with his formation, it's been consistent and you can kind of see what he's trying to do. I feel like with managers like Mourinho and Van Gaal, we never really had that. And in terms of the team itself, this might be controversial, but in terms of the talent on this team, I think it might be even better than some of Fergie's teams towards the end.
Towards the end, yeah. But towards the end, Fergie's team did obviously get old and he could only do so much and he still won the league. But anyways, I agree with the talent part. You look at Rashford, I think if he didn't get injured, honestly, he would have been top goal scorer this season. I honestly back it. I'm a very harsh critic of Rashford, but those stats speak for himself. I mean, he's still in contention. Yeah, he's still in contention.
Look, I love Rashford, but I don't know about in general. There's some tough competition in the Premier League.
There is, but I think he would have done it this season. I think he was on fire. And I think if the league had to get restarted, how many games are left?
Yeah. 8. But the thing is, if the league is restarted, you still have Aubameyang and all of them coming back.
No, yeah, definitely. But, we'll have a fully fit United team. And I don't know how they would work, but, Rashford, you look at Rashford, amazing. You look at Martial, if he does keep fit and, doesn't have problem, which he has been doing since he came back from injury. We don't have to speak about Martial, amazing. Jadon Sancho, again, amazing talent. I can't wait to see what he does and what his future holds. Bruno Fernandes, I got no words for Bruno Fernandes. He came up, he lit up. I miss him a lot. And but the link up now with Pogba, oh my God, that's my only dream. That if Pogba leaves or whatever, even if he leaves, I just want to see one game where Bruno and Pogba play together. Please, that is my dream.
I just can't think, and it hasn't happened yet, so we don't want to jump the gun. But to the talent, I can't think of a better two at the moment in midfield. Honestly,
I can't in the world. Like, would you put KDB with Pogba and that's flogging it?
Yeah. I think maybe you can say Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, but Silva's getting old, so I don't think you can count that one.
And possibly Silva, this is his last season. I don't think Silva will be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe KDB has the argument, obviously. They're old. He definitely has an argument.
Not in general. I mean, like, in terms of what other teams
have. But as other teams, you didn't look to replace someone. If you just look in the midfield, I'll look at United's midfield. I'll be like, nah, that's the best.
Because even if if we bring it back, we have the potential to have one of the best midfielders in Europe.
Yeah, because even if you think of Real Madrid, they have an amazing midfield. Modric, Casemiro, Cruz, but they're also getting old. You look at Barca midfield; they're getting old.
Yeah,
this midfield will be at their prime.
Yeah. This is a good team.
The only problem I have with this team, like if I had to look at it, is I think I would get a different centre back pairing for Maguire. Because I don't like the two. I don't like the idea of Lindelof and Maguire playing next to each other. I mean, Oli, that's his go-to, but I would definitely love to get the different pairing. But that's just, scraping the bottom.
How do you Bailly, though? Because you've never really been completely fond of Bailly.
No, I haven't, but I'll take Bailly over Lindelof if you could stay fit as a pairing. I'm not saying Bailly could be better than Lindelof. I just think as a pairing, it'd be suit Maguire and Bailly.
And Tuanzebe, is he ready?
I thought he was, prior between he got injured and stuff. I honestly thought that Tuanzebe was contending for first team football. I think he was going to try drop Lindelof for first team.
Yeah, I think what we can say in terms of defense, in terms of centre back specifically, we have good backup, and I don't think we need to fix that position, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, and like with right back, I know Dalot is our backup right back, but I like the fact that Dalot is our backup right back. He's still very young. And I do think he's grounded, and I think that going forward, he's got very good potential. And I'm not saying like potential like it's to be good as a Trent, but I think he's good enough going forward. I think defensively he'll have to work on it, but I think he'll get there. He's still young.
I think the worry with Dalot is that he's so injury prone. What happens when he's injured and Wan-Bissaka gets injured?
That's the problem. Exactly, That's the problem. Like what happens because Wan-Bissaka he's been titanium. He's been absolutely titanium. When he plays, never gets injured, never gets tired. He does get tired, but even when he's tired, he's just amazing. And if we take Wan-Bissaka out that team, all of a sudden, there's a hole. There's a big hole.
Yeah.
But now I look at if we had just like average right back, and I look at Lindelof, I think people would take advantage of Lindelof. I think Wan-Bissaka helps Lindelof a lot.
Yeah, true. I remember that game in the Europa League where we played our youth team. There was a player called Ethan Led. I don't know why
Yeah,
we didn't
Ethan
call
Ladd.
him. I thought he was amazing.
There's definitely, there's always going to be people asking about Angel Gomez. I think that's just how it is with youth. And, as amazing as youth players are, not all of them will break it into first team or break into these phenomenal players that we thought they would be. And that's just the sad reality, I think.
Yeah. People
Like
like
I look
James
at
Garner.
Angel Gomez, yeah, James Garner, Angel Gomez. Angel Gomez could be amazing, but he never gets played, and it doesn't look like we want to get rid of him.
Yeah. It's sad.
That's why I also want a backup striker, because I don't want anything to happen to Greenwood. I want Greenwood's growth to be proper. I think I seen a stat on Twitter saying that he's got the most goals for a player at his age, or he's got like how many? He's got a few, like 10 more goals than Ronaldo did at his age, or something like that in this games or something. But yeah, how people find stats to make it out of it. But yeah, Greenwood's growth to me is very important. It's very important, and I think if we had Martial, Igalo, and Greenwood, I think it'd be fine. I don't understand why we need a backup striker. I honestly don't. I don't understand. I think if we could make Igalo permanent and we still have Greenwood, I don't see why we need another striker.
I think maybe the jury's still up or is still open over Igalo, but I think he's done enough for us to give him a year.
Yeah, he's done enough for a year at least.
Yeah.
And that's another year of Greenwood growth. So
yeah.
But yeah, anyways, I think is there anything else you would like to say?
No, I'm good. I think we've covered everything.
I think we have covered everything. Obviously, as well.
Surprised we didn't speak about Paul Pogba this week.
I mean, we can speak. I can speak about Paul Pogba. Well, guys, everyone knows how I feel about Paul Pogba. He's my boy. I wish we keep him. I hope he does stay and prove everyone wrong. I hope he stays and shows all of you with your big mouths that he's world class. All right. But anyways, before I go on a Pogba rant, please do like the video. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. We are on 55 subscribers. You guys are the best. And yeah, I hope you guys are keeping safe, and hopefully football comes soon. And until then, over and out.